We're at the top of Mount Washington. I can't see anything. I know what lies off that side of the car. It's just certain death. It's taking up Smuggler's Notch. This is one of my favorite roads in New England. Yes! Oh, we got the jump. I don't know how to put this any other way, but I feel more out of shape than I should. Welcome back, I'm Tedward. Welcome to Stowe, Vermont, and welcome to the freshly redesigned 2027 Chrysler Pacifica S. And I'm gonna be taking this on a week-long road trip for one reason, because a lot of you have a no minivans policy. And although this would be much cooler if it was a Hellcat, and I have asked the CEO of Chrysler and Dodge to put a 392 in here or to put a supercharged V8 in this thing, they won't do it. But what this is a masterclass in packaging, and I have had a very busy summer. In fact, I need a vacation, but my job is tricky to take vacations with. We're always on the road, we're always moving, we're always filming. And Chrysler came in at the nick of time and said, hey, what would you think about taking this for a week and just seeing what happens? Go wherever you want. And that is exactly what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna take you along for the ride in the minivan. Now, I grew up in a minivan. My mom had a 1993 Dodge Caravan, the shorty, the minivan, not the long boy. And I gotta say, I loved it. It still was one of the first cars I really got to interact with. Now, I usually proudly say that I grew up in my dad's 1989 Volvo 740 wagon, and that is also true, but we have to give props to the minivan because one of the things that thing did was it allowed our family to do anything and pack as much stuff in the car as possible. And my mom, a big gardener, house improvement type enthusiast, was never afraid to pick something up on the side of the road. Now for me, I'm a single guy. This is probably not my normal thing. You're not gonna see me going out and buying a minivan for my lifestyle. However, what I am finding out is that, if I'm being really honest, this is more practical than my GX on a level I didn't even recognize. I love my GX 460, but this Chrysler Pacifica does things that are absolutely mind-blowing. So first of all, let's talk powertrain. The PHEV is gone. There is no plug-in hybrid variant of this thing anymore. So it is purely the 3.6 liter naturally aspirated V6. It makes 287 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, all-wheel drive, so you're not worried about getting up the snowy pass when you come out here in the winter. Stow and go is magical. I love that this is a seven-seat configuration, but right now I've got it in a 6-seat configuration because I can put anything or nothing in this vehicle. And although I'm not bringing anyone else on my road trip, I am bringing a lot of stuff, and it's actually all in the bougie hotel over there right now. I'm going on a cycling road trip. I know a lot of you guys hate cyclists, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm gonna try to maybe bring a little bit of love to that, but it's really fun. I don't know why more motorists aren't cyclists, because it's like being a watch enthusiast. You get a powertrain, you get carbon fiber, you get craftsmanship, and you get to power your own ride. Anyway, we'll get to that later. But here's the thing about this vehicle, is that I can place my bike upright off to the side and still have all the room in the world to place coolers, sleeping bags, gear. I'm bringing cameras, I've got tripods, I have stuff for my bike. I've got helmets, cleats, all these things that normally is kind of a pain to put together and actually line up even in my GX because I've got to lay it down in the back. But this Pacifica is going to allow me to bring it everywhere and not sacrifice any space. And if I pick up some friends along the way, I still have room for the passengers. So let's start with the best party trick of the Pacifica. It's the stow and go seats. This has been a staple of the Pacifica for quite some time. But here's the thing, it never gets old. This is magic. This is why you buy a Pacifica. This is magical because all we have to do is shove this down in the floor and then cover it back up. And then look at this. Look at this. All this space is opened up. So if you want to put passengers back there and stuff up here or vice versa, you have that ability. Those rear seats fold back into the floor. And the next party trick might be my second favorite. It's that it has a vacuum cleaner in it because we're going to go to the beach on this trip and I hate sandy cars. So all I have to do is take this out, and now I can get all the sand and grime out of this thing as I'm driving along. I don't have to pull over at some car wash and use their vacuum, nor do I have to risk scratching my paint, like maybe you don't care that much, it's a minivan. But you know, sometimes running your vacuum cleaner into these things is a little bit of a pain. And there's even like a little tuck away cubby for some of this stuff. So anyway, we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about all of the conveniences of this thing. But I have to say, as somebody who really appreciates packaging engineering and clever design, the Pacifica cannot be overlooked, because I can't tell you, anybody, even car enthusiasts who are non-minivan people, they really are blown away by the conveniences of this thing, and it's genuinely impressive. So here's my plan. I'm starting out here in Stowe, Vermont. I'm gonna go climb Mount Washington, weather permitting, with this Pacifica S. I genuinely hope we can get the proper sticker on the back that says this car climbed Mount Washington, because I've only climbed it on foot. I've never done the auto road. I'm really excited to try that. Sometimes you don't try the things that are closest to you. I've traveled all over the world and done all kinds of fun things, but sometimes I don't do the things that are in my own backyard. Then I'm gonna head out to Acadia National Park. We're gonna go to Bar Harbor and spend a couple days there. That's where I'm gonna bring the bike out. I'm gonna go explore the coast and see one of the most beautiful areas that New England has to offer. From there, we'll head south, probably to Ogunquit, to enjoy some of the beaches, and then finish off on Cape Cod, ending at Race Point and cycling around there. But I think having a van like this is just unbelievable, because you don't even have to work that hard at fitting things in it. It's so easy, and I'm gonna have to pack and repack so many times during this trip that this is already becoming a luxury. So let's get it started, and I'm gonna take you up Smuggler's Notch. Harman Kardon sound system, yes, that is going to come in handy, because I'm going to be blasting a lot of tunes on this road trip. The Pacific is a redesign, it's not a completely new thing. So sure, you get the new front end, but all the things you know and love about cars, like gauges, needles on the gauges, normal analog functions where you want them, and screens where you need them, that's the best thing about this car. This is why I love the 392 Durango so much, because it feels like fashion has come back around. Everyone's gone so bananas with their full screens and everything, where really all we ever wanted was a couple extra conveniences, but some of the same classic things that we always knew and loved. I'm thrilled that I got in this, and this dashboard is not a full digital display. That would really disappoint me. First things first, let's take it up Smuggler's Notch. This is one of my favorite roads in New England. It's incredibly tight, it's incredibly windy. You can't always hit it like a toge, but they want to make sure there's no semi-trucks back here, and that's why you've got that chicane. This thing is remarkably smooth. It's not the fastest thing in the world. In fact, sometimes I really do think this needs a 392 in it. I mean, I always think it needs a 392 in it. Center line goes away, the road gets a little narrower. You know, the last time I was up here, I was in a Porsche, a new GTS. And I was really disappointed because I kept hitting traffic. But in this minivan, it's not that concerning whether there's traffic or not. But let's see how she handles some of these tighter corners. So now that I've scouted this, I'm going to ride my bike up this. And look, I've been riding my bike for quite a while. I haven't been doing hill climbs so much recently because my knee is not in the best shape. So I've been doing a lot of kind of flat landing miles, and climbing used to be my forte. I have good power to weight ratio, but I'm really curious if my cardiovascular system is up to the task of doing Smuggler's Notch. But this is my favorite part right here, where the rocks get real close. This is a single lane, guys. There's no way to get two cars through that unless you're in Fiat 500s. Look at the turning radius of this thing. It's incredible. This is what I mean. There's almost no more practical vehicle. The only thing this road has made me want in this vehicle, other than a V8, is some paddle shifters or maybe some driving modes, because the only thing I get is drive and low. And we will test out the low gear on the way down the hill. Steering is so smooth. The ratio is sublime. It's kind of long. Everyone goes with these really tight steering racks. It's actually a complaint I have with the new Charger. I think it's a little bit too sharp. And I know that's aimed at more of a sporty crowd, but I love the resolution I get with this. And also the leather. The feeling of this leather is fantastic. All right, let's low gear. This weighs 4,800 pounds. She's no lightweight. So this low gear on some of this steep stuff, it's still running away on me. But this is gonna be fun on the bike. I'm really, wow. There we go. Looks like we're getting the cordial pass here. Very nice. All right, that feels cruel. So we're just gonna do this. We're gonna have to get used to that when we're descending Mount Washington though. All right, let's go see if I am in shape enough to ride the Notch on my bike. And then we're in Vermont, man. This is the home of Ben & Jerry's. Let's go down and treat ourselves after a bike ride to a little snack, a little ice cream snack. I am a fiend for ice cream, and I love Ben & Jerry's. It's by far my favorite ice cream in the world. One of the toughest things on a road trip is staying fit. It's easy to just crush hours and hours and hours in the car. But the beauty of having sort of an adventure vehicle is that you can bring a bunch of stuff with you. And for me, right now, we're starting off in Stowe. I have driven this road up Smuggler's Notch so many times. I have never once attempted it on a bike. And I'm really hoping that I can manage this. I haven't done any climbing for like a really long time. And I don't know if I've got the legs for it. I'm gonna try it. And I'm okay with failing. I'm by myself, other than, you know, bringing you guys along. I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous. I haven't done any hill climbs in a really long time. And I do have some knee issues, which is why I'm on the bike to begin with. It's why I'm not running anymore, which is a super bummer. I loved running. I can smell bubblegum vape out of that Subaru. Here's what sucks. The climb hasn't even begun. Yes! It's Elliot. I don't know how to put this any other way, but I feel more out of shape than I should. Maybe terribly out of shape. I think everything I do cardiovascularly is like just steady pace, zone 3, just cooking. But man, this anaerobic stuff will kill you. But look at this view. It's not terrible if you've got this view where you're taking a break. Best thing is there's no other cyclists here. No one can make fun of me. Other than you guys, you're welcome to because you're here with me. But wow, look at that too, up there. Some beautiful stuff out here. All right, let's get after it. Oh my God. I did it. It's my favorite section of road. The rocks close in. I'm thrilled that we've got disc brakes so we don't overheat on the way back. Oh, I haven't done a descent in a long time. Oh, brutal. I haven't really had to use these brakes before. Like, not in any real scenarios. They feel fantastic. It's a little nerve-wracking because if anything goes wrong, I'm going off the road at like 40 miles an hour. I don't really want that. Oh, it feels great. Yes! Oh, that 911 sounds great. Not a gravel bike, but I can still do some gravel bike things. There's Sophion. What's up, man?
Oh, hey, there you are. I was just like...
That was a little tougher than anticipated. I did have to stop a couple times, and I'm not gonna lie to you about that. I could cut that together and make it look like I did it in one shot, but I pulled off in a couple parking lots because I was like, oh, my heart might explode. But this is the thing about road tripping. Oh, by the way, where else do you get a nice little armrest? To me, that's Range Rover stuff. I am in ultra luxury, and actually, I also should be using my ventilated seats. What a pleb, me just sitting here without air blowing on my back. And we're here. If you've ever wondered where Ben & Jerry's is made, this is it. This is where all of the ice cream you love is made and distributed from. And you can do factory tours, but I've done that a million times. I'm good. I would really prefer to just get a little bit of ice cream. How you doing?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. Would you like me to just park in here?
Wherever you want to park. Yeah.
Cool.
That works.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Vermont, very lax. Nobody's worried. It's like, oh, I have a parking attendant. Park wherever. Do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Oh, it's so good. Oh, how am I not going to park next to this Celica? Yeah, we've got to do that. Did they make them in that blue? Did he paint it that blue? Let's see. Do I have cameras here? I think I do. Surround camera. There we go. I love a front-facing camera. Power of the Pentastar V6. Here's what I love about road tripping by myself. I get to stop anywhere, anytime. If I have to pee, I get to stop. If I see something interesting, I get to stop. And I just saw something interesting. So this is why I have turned around, because there is a Grand Cherokee on these. What on earth? This is brilliant. This is Vermont. I love it. I think it's perfect. We need to get some photos. Ooh, it's raining, but I don't care. I need the photo. If they're watching me, they're like, what is this weird little dude doing with a camera on his face? But you're the ones with the Cherokee on tracks. There we go. Job done. All right, off we go. Up this morning in the clouds here in Stowe, Vermont, and I've packed up the Pacifica to head off to our first destination on this road trip, which is Mount Washington. Mount Washington is the highest peak in the Northeast, and there's an auto road that actually is paved all the way to the top and enables you to climb 4,000 feet in your car. And then you get the famous "This car climbed Mount Washington" sticker. It's always a little silly to see them, but I feel like this New England road trip could not be complete if this Pacifica does not make it to the top. And it's supposedly the oldest man-made attraction in America. So that's kind of neat. Packing this thing is interesting. It's very easy, but there's a million ways you could do it. I could have put my bike between those two captain's chairs. I chose to buckle it and lean it against the van so nothing's touching glass, and I put a packing blanket over there on the headset just in case it touches glass, but I don't think it's going to. It will be okay. Before, I actually had stuff wedged up against the bike, but the problem is I don't want to damage my crankset. Those gears are going to get damaged, so you got to have some mechanical sympathy. This is the only frustrations of putting a bike on something that isn't a bike rack. Back here, I've got my cooler, and it's actually not my cooler. This is my dad's cooler from the 1970s. He used to travel across the country in his Volkswagen Rabbit, and that is the cooler that he put all his drinks, presumably beer. It was the 1970s. But right now, she's empty. We're just going to load it with ice and stuff, and I'm going to keep some nice, cool drinks in there. I love a little heritage thing. For whatever reason, I'm incredibly sentimental. But I have tons of room up front. There's no worries there. And we're just going to make sure there's no noises or anything scratching around back here. I've got it buckled in place as well, so hopefully there's a little bit of tension on it in the event of a hard stop or something like that, but we'll do our best. What's incredible is that if I really wanted to, I could still pack this a little more clever and put one of these or two of these stow and go seats in the third row. We could still put more people and bikes in it. And that's fantastic. I packed really heavy just because I could, and I wanted to see what I could fit in this thing. This is not how I usually travel. So let's jump on the road in this Pacifica and head to New Hampshire because we have some beautiful things to see, and I'm in no rush. Originally, I was going to go to Bar Harbor, Maine. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, but why not? You got to be flexible on a road trip. Oh yes, jumping to life with our analog gauges. Bar Harbor, unfortunately, is going to be pretty rained out on Thursday. And Thursday is my cycling day. That's the day that I plan to be like on the bike all day going through Acadia National Park. If it's rained out, I'm kind of a fair weather player on that level. So I think what we're going to do instead is maybe spend that rainy day on the coast, maybe in Kennebunkport, Portland, or Ogunquit, because there's a little more to do in that neck of the woods. We'll turn around down here on this private drive. This thing has such a good turning radius. I've already put 286 miles on this van. I've averaged 20.8 miles per gallon. That was killed mostly by the fact that I went up Smuggler's Notch and kind of caned it. So I wasn't being very nice to it on that drive. And we'll see what happens on the drive today. I think I can achieve closer to 24, but you know, we'll do what we can. The PHEV, I think, would have been able to get 30, but the PHEV sacrifices space in that stow and go. So then the batteries sit back there, and I would have had to remove those captain's chairs rather than just shove them into the floor. I suppose the skid steer guy can't really wave at me because he'll probably end up just driving into me or off the road. Look at this. Another Pacifica with the old style front. I really do love the old style front of that thing. I'm not upset with the new one, but I will say the old one is incredibly handsome. I know this isn't its intended purpose, but this has a fam cam in it, and you can look and see every seat and the overall picture of what's going on in the back, which is great because you also get this little mirror guy, which my GX has, but it's kind of tricky to decipher what's going on from that. With this, the thing I like about it is that I'm pretty obsessive compulsive, and I don't mean that in a non-clinical way. Like I have that diagnosis. I'm pretty much over it, but if I get it in my head that I need to check something, or did I leave that bag there, I have to pull over. I can't, it will itch me. I can try not to do it. I will have to pull over. I will have to go put my hand on it, see the thing, and then know that it is there. With the fam cam, I can actually get a top-down view, and I'm like, oh, did I bring that bag with all that camera gear? Boom, there it is. Where's my camera bag? Where's my hat? Where's my helmet? Where's that cooler? It's all right there. Like, this is really nice stuff, and you can, let's see, if I hit this, select a seat, you can zoom in on different sections. So I can actually touch things and say, okay, yeah, that is in fact what I was looking for. How cool, I mean, it's just the coolest. I love stuff like this. Good features, man, feature heavy. All the juice is on the top end of this engine. But how did vans get so uncool? I mean, it's practically in people's wedding vows. Like, I'll marry you, but no minivans. We're not doing it. And that wasn't always the case. If you go back to the 1960s and 70s, vans were cool. You had the Volkswagen Bus, the most iconic van of all time, I think. And it was cool. It was manifest destiny. It was traveling. It was moving people. It was getting frisky in your basically rolling apartment. That was cool. Someone rolls up in a Volkswagen Bus, you'd be like, yeah, man, I'll go with you. That's great. Even the Econoline. You look at the car from old school, right? I mean, people had cool vans. The Japanese know how to do cool vans. That's a whole subculture in Japanese car culture is vans. So when did vans get so uncool here? It must have just been the advent of minivans in the 1990s, when it just became a mom mobile. It became an icon of exhaling, we're a family now, we can't have nice things. But those vans were not these vans. Vans got really luxurious very quickly. And yes, they went from the bare bones, basically K cars. I mean, they were like a Dodge Shadow as a box. That was what those original 80s vans were like. But when you get into the late 90s and stuff, you end up with really nice leather, you end up with nice features, you end up with captain's chairs, and they weren't bad to drive. They're actually pretty good. They had V6s, and at a time when the V6 was kind of hot, they weren't slow. I mean, by today's standards, they're probably slow, but back then, that was reasonable power. But the image of it all was just not it. And so we moved on to SUVs, and you get 4Runners that come out of the woodwork, and people are like, wow, you know, these off-roady things that maybe we were only looking at for the purposes of off-roading are now our family vehicles. And sure, you've got Suburbans and some other tough-looking SUVs, but the CR-V, the Ford Escape, the Audi Q5, like, those aren't tough cars to me. And I kind of don't get how those are cooler culturally than a minivan that might have better features and be more practical to actually utilize and drive. I do understand the appearance is not it for everybody. And also I understand that if you're like a single person and you don't have kids, it does feel weird to have a van. But this, I swear, is more practical than a pickup truck for people who usually just need a pickup truck for space. I had a Ford F-150 Tremor, it had a quad cab, it had a short bed, and I was putting my bike in that bed, and it was kind of a pain, and it's also exposed. So sure, you can put a tonneau cover on it, but if you don't have a tonneau cover, if you don't want to have a tonneau cover on it, now you have less space, and it's exposed to the elements and people who might want to steal it at a rest stop. I mean, you know, you got a $5,000 carbon frame in the back seat. No one's coming in this van. I mean, sure, they can smash the windows, but you're much more likely to have someone just pop something out of the bed of a truck than actually break into your van. Cows. But one of the reasons I think this road trip is important is because this is actually how vans are used. They crush miles. They're not designed to be babied. People baby everything. People will ceramic coat their little mini BMW SUVs, their X3s, their Audi Q5s. Minivans, I bet, have the lowest rate of ceramic coating in PPF. People just beat the bag out of these things. And they're not really concerned with how the interior looks. They know that it's going to get trashed by their kids or whatever they put in it. And if you're somebody who's moving stuff around for your home improvement projects, man, this CR-V just cannot hang on to speed. I wish I could pass them. I don't really have a ton of juice to do this if I find a passing zone. So this is why I plead once again to Stellantis, please give us a Hellcat Pacifica. We would really appreciate that. Maybe that's what would bring the van into the cool culture again. Maybe that's what would resurrect the van. I know it would probably cost a lot of money and they don't maybe have a business case for it, but I think it's an investment in the van culture. What is your plate? I don't even know what that plate is. It says I Heart Vermont on the thing, but I've never seen that plate. And it can't be a Vermonter. Vermonter would not be driving under the speed limit. That's not a thing. Vermonters drive 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. Oh, we got the jump. That's the secret. Just got to get a little downhill. All right, back to cruising speed. 392, a supercharged Hemi. Oh my goodness. Then we're in. That's it. That's the secret to getting vans cool again. Bump. Barely. This thing's so comfortable. I love the suspension. The Pacifica may not also be the van you chose or would choose for the road trip, but it's the car you got. Whether it was a rental car and you realized, oh man, we're moving too many people and too much stuff, we're gonna have to get a minivan. Or you're a teenager, you're in your early 20s, this might have been a hand-me-down from your parents. This might be your 150, 200,000 mile van that you were throwing up in when you were 12 years old, getting car sick in the back, and now you're 17 years old, 18 years old, and you're ferrying your friends around from practices, or you're going on your very first road trips. Like, this is a very realistic vehicle that, like, normal kids would end up with. And I don't think there's any shame in that. I think this thing's awesome to go pile a bunch of people in and enjoy yourself. Like, why not have an adventure van? My 93 Caravan that I grew up in ended up getting passed down to our friends in New Hampshire. It got passed down to our friend Dylan, who was in high school when he got the car. The van was rough. She was definitely blowing some oil, but it was alive enough for a 17-year-old's first car. And being in New Hampshire, in rural New Hampshire, Dylan kind of beat the bag out of it. And they definitely did silly things with it. Like, you got to remember, this is sort of in the jackass era of picking up a camera, being in high school, and doing dumb things. They probably were towing themselves on tubes and skis in the snow. They were probably off-roading it on dirt roads. And I know they did some of those things because I've seen the evidence. The other thing was that they had to go find parts because they did lightly crash it a few times, and it became the Fodge Carostar because they ended up using Ford Aerostar and Ranger parts. Like, they had a Ford grill on the thing. They ended up using like Ford taillights and all kinds of funky stuff just to keep this thing alive because they had a junkyard nearby, or a friend had a totaled Ford in the backyard, and they were like, well, we'll just use that. I thought that was so clever and fun. And I also think there's a segment of car culture that's so much more playful than the obsessive Porsche people of today. While it is very cool, if you're in high school and you've done your job to, wow, this is really beautiful. You've done your job to rebuild a 944 turbo and make it immaculate and paint it and do all that stuff. That's cool. But you know what's also cool is having a total piece of shit that you love and that you just keep alive. Like, it's on life support and you just keep it going. I think that is so awesome. The weather definitely looks like it's turning on us, and not for the better. So I am sincerely hoping the auto road is still open, but let's go try it out. It'd be really fun to climb Mount Washington in some gnarly clouds. This is great. Attention! The Mount Washington Auto Road is a steep, narrow mountain road without guardrails. If you have a fear of heights, you may not appreciate this driving experience. What a great sign. It's open. I got my sticker. Seems a little preemptive. They should give it to you on the way down because I haven't done it yet. What if everything falls apart on the way up? He said it's all in the clouds up there, so we're going to find out. No hitchhiking, no bicycling. Well, I've got a bike in the back, but we won't take it out. They built this road in 1861. So, I mean, they must have just been taking horses up here. It's pretty wild. Obviously, pretty well maintained, but one of the best things about this road is that it's actually used for a hill climb. sort of like Pikes Peak, that climb to the clouds. You do have to be selected. It's a tricky thing, and they don't do it every year, so this is not a yearly event when they do this. Let's see. This 9-speed sometimes gets itself into a pickle because it's trying to be efficient, so it will end up, man, this is treacherous. It'll end up just upshifting. Yeah, so you can imagine people legitimately race this hill. It's nuts. And actually the hotel I'm staying at next door, the Glen House, that's where a lot of the racers stay, and it's very car-centric. Mount Washington is 6,288 feet tall. It is the tallest peak in northeastern United States. And it's part of the presidential mountain range, so there's Jefferson and Adams right next to it. But this road climbs about 4,000 feet of elevation. So this should be interesting because we have a naturally aspirated V6. The last time I did some monster mountain climbing was at Pikes Peak, and I was in a Fiesta ST. And that was actually fantastic because the turbocharger gave me so much power. It allowed me to still put down power. Whereas I was in a Miata a few days before that in Colorado, and man, once we started climbing Estes National Park, like there was no juice. It was just foot to the floor. This is not like 14,000 feet, so it shouldn't be too anemic, but I can imagine it's going to get a little weaker as we climb. But getting into the clouds in Mount Washington is no joke. Mount Washington has the worst weather in the world, the peak. In fact, the highest wind speed ever recorded by humans is 231 miles per hour at the peak of Mount Washington. So just to give you an idea, I know if you're from Colorado or somewhere out where you get like 14,000 foot peaks and stuff, look, I know 6,000 doesn't sound like that much, but the perfect culmination of bad weather occurs here, and we get wild storms at the peak of this place. This is a crazy road for a hill climb. Oh my goodness. Really wishing I had paddle shifters, because I would love to hold my gear. Oh, now we're getting into the clouds. This is rad. What poor horses had to drag people up here in 1861? Can change all kinds of information I get, so we can take a look at our water temp, which is nice. Vehicle info. Let's see. There's trans temp, coolant temp. She's doing her thing. Not getting any views today, but I'm really thrilled to be up here. imagine you're in the hill climb. You're really on one, things are going well, and then you're just blinded by fog. It's not really fog, I mean, they're just clouds. This may sound dumb. I thought it would be steeper. This reminds me so much. Let's see, is there a view out here? Not yet. This reminds me so much of when I went out to the Cascades and we went on that crazy camping trip. The final night, we climbed this dirt road, no guardrails, any wrong move, you're falling off a serious cliff. And then we were camping, and when we woke up, I opened my tent to the sight of Mount Rainier. And that is actually still my phone background, my wallpaper. Hey, bud. No need for hazards, man. We're we're on the Mount Washington Auto Road. You don't need hazards, buddy. Oh, look at the wind starting to pick up. I'm so well insulated in this thing, I didn't even realize. Oh, how cool is this? All right, you want to see something really cool? So we can pull right up here. Let's see, I probably have to be in park because they probably don't want your kids to fall out. But I could stop right here. Only in the van can you do that. You can tell just by these, we're at 4,000 feet. We got 2,000 to go. Okay, it's gonna get steep then. You can tell by these trees just how much wind they experience. They're all leaning. Wow, I mean, there's nothing to see. I just know that it's dangerous. It smells good up here. The guy at the bottom told me it was going to be cloudy up here as if I was going to be disappointed. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's cool to get some views, but I'm also really thrilled to just be up here driving in the clouds. And I think what's amazing is how casually they're like, yeah, go for it. And I'm thinking, like, how scared do normal drivers get on a regular highway where there's visibility, but it rains a little bit? Everyone, like, grinds to a halt. Like, normal people are just driving up this road. Maybe they know better. That's why it's empty today. It's very quiet. So cool. This is so sketchy. Oh my God. I want to applaud the people who paved this. This is really nice. This road is incredible. This road is better maintained than a lot of roads in my own neighborhood. Just gonna put it in low. Sick of the upshifting. We don't need that. Yeah, everything's holding steady as it should. Five mile. That's dense. Let me see what this looks like on camera. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I literally have clouds coming through the car. This is the coolest. Full send for the Jeep, okay. Maybe that's a little hot on the way down the hill. Awesome. That turnout looks so sketchy because you couldn't see the edge. I want a photo of this on the Fuji. Are you guys seeing this? Look at the clouds moving around me. It's unbelievable. So rad. No rollback. This is pure trust in mustard and mayo over here, because nothing off that. All I can see is the faint glow of headlights coming through the fog. Whoa, that is fully across double yellows. That's not what we want. What are you doing, man? You gotta have some etiquette. I have my headlights on. I'm not messing around here. That's bonkers. I'm not trying to fall off this cliff or get pushed off this cliff. 5,000 feet. We've got 1,000 feet to go. What's that thing? I don't even know what that is. This is so treacherous. Six miles. Love that people put their hazards on. Like, yo, we get it. There's no visibility and only certain depth. With the windows down, I have clouds coming through the car. Can you guys see this? Can you see the clouds coming through the car? Wow. What an experience. This is the thing. I know what lies off that side of the car. It's just certain death. It's getting more and more real, to be honest. I'm starting to feel a little more intimidated by this than I previously was. And I think it was because that van crossed double yellows, or single yellow, whatever you want to call it. And that freaked me out a little bit. I had trust in my fellow drivers until that moment. And that, I think, was one of the state parks guys. You know what's crazy? There's no turning back. I cannot do a 3-point turn here. I mean, maybe I could. It'd be like a 5-point turn. But the risk level, way too high. Wow. I'm getting parking sensors, dude. There's always a new experience to have in a car. This is different for me. Another Pacifica! Definitely a rental. Whoa. Oh, we got a car. We found a car. We caught up to a car. I guess we were a lot more bold than these guys. So one thing that's bothering me a little bit is the reflection of this dashboard off the windshield. I can see the line, and I'm trying not to see that line while I'm driving. But can you guys see the CRV in front of me? I mean, that is... that's how bad the visibility is. This is... Wow. This is so cool. I feel like we live in a world where everything is totally nannied for us. Our cars have a million things that are going to be safety features to keep us from spinning a tire. Every place we go has guardrails and lifeguards, and you know, that's all fine and good. We reduce the liability of death, and that's nice. This is one of those times when you're like, I kind of can't believe this is still okay, that someone lets us do this. And I am not gonna lie, this guy's bold. Oh man, I don't know if I want to do that on a motorcycle. I have always kind of giggled and laughed at this car climbed Mount Washington sticker, because I was like, dude, just climb it on foot. What do you mean your car climbed it, right? I finally feel pride. I haven't completed it yet, but I finally feel pride in the accomplishment, because this is pretty gnarly. We found our CRV again. See, this is like running on, it looks like a ghost. It's a phantom. It's just a phantom CRV. Now, just like on a racetrack, you should always drive your own line. Do not play follow the leader, because if this CRV drives off a cliff, we'll drive off a cliff if we're following his taillights. So in inclement weather, it's fine to keep an eye on that car, but make sure you drive your line. Dude, there's nothing, like, this is bonkers, man. We're at the top of Mount Washington. I can't see anything. The wind is crazy, but it could be much crazier. But I'm just literally in a cloud. And this gives you an idea of the new running lights on the updated fascia. But anyway, I think road tripping by yourself has a lot of value. I think stopping when you want to stop, going where you want to go, changing plans whenever you want to change plans. Don't even book hotels until the night before. Just go figure it out on your own. It's awesome. This is not the photo shoot I expected, but it's the photo shoot we get. Hopefully no one hits me with a car. Here. I actually had to turn off because the car in front of me was going so slow that it was probably going to overheat my brakes. My strategy for keeping brakes cool on a descent like this, obviously you're going to put it in low gear, but this is still going to run, okay? But you don't want to ride the brake the whole way down. People are just sitting here trying to stay slow, and I understand that. Visibility was essentially 10 feet, but you want to let the car run a little bit. And if it's speeding up too much, then you give a little hit, get that speed back down, and then let it run again. And just play that game over and over and over again. Because it's going to run a little too hard here. So, not a violent stab, but just bring it down and then get off those brakes. They get warm, they get cool. They get warm, they get cool. Man, this is beautiful. Yesterday's vlog must have been sponsored by Lemony Snicket because it was a series of unfortunate events. Just hit a turkey in the Pacifica, managed to kind of bounce off of there, but no damage. We've got one feather straight off the windshield, nothing cracked, maintained. I hit a turkey with the Pacifica and I'm shocked, genuinely shocked there's no damage. I thought that turkey was going to be my passenger when it bounced off the windshield. And luckily I was able to reduce speed pretty significantly, but I had traffic behind me, so I couldn't just stand on the brakes because I probably would have gotten rear-ended and totaled the thing. So you got to choose your battles in those moments. And I had oncoming traffic, so I couldn't swerve for him. You don't want a head-on collision. You want to just go through the bird. And it was not pretty, but I ended up in a Gunkwit, Maine, which I have been told for years about how great this town is, about how lively and wild it is. And you might be getting the idea, it's a little bit of a retirement community. There's families, there's a lot going on here for sure, but I just don't think for like a single person, this exactly has the vibes you're looking for in terms of nightlife. There's a piano bar that everyone said, oh, you got to go to the piano bar. And I'm like, do any of these people know me? Because look, I think the piano bar looks great. And if you want to stand around a piano singing Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog with women who are your mother's age, I think that's like the perfect place on planet Earth for you. It's not quite my vibe. So I get it. It was a Thursday night. We have to give the town a little credit. It wasn't the liveliest thing I've seen, but it was still fun and it's charming and there's great food. And I got a killer lobster roll, my first lobster roll of the trip. So I'm really happy about that. And I went out, I had one drink. I sat in a bar, which is supposed to be the liveliest bar in the Ogunquit nightlife, and there were 15 people in that entire giant space. So I did my duty. I sat there, I had one drink, and then I drank water to hydrate, and that's how it worked. What I will say though is Ogunquit does live up to the hype in its beauty. It is one of the greatest rocky Maine coastlines I've ever seen. I took the Fujifilm out and I started shooting photos in the inclement weather. The rain was just about to start and it was just this gloomy clouds. It's exactly what you think of when you think of some dramatic New England ocean scene. The waves were coming in, they're crashing over the rocks. The beaches, there's some sandy beaches, but a lot of the coastline is just gnarly rocks. And people were out there surfing. I even saw some lifeguards lined up on the rocks, and I'm trying to think of how would they even run out to the water safely. But unfortunately, because it started raining and I got there a little late, I didn't end up getting on the bike. But that's what this day is about. I'm gonna get down to Cape Cod. We're gonna drive all the way down the coastline and then back up north because you've got to go around the hook of the Cape because we're going up to Provincetown to some of my favorite places to cycle. It's in the dunes. It's one of the greatest bike paths I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So we're just gonna jump on 95 for a while. Bit of a boring drive, but the Pacifica will at least give me some nice tunes with our Harman Kardon sound system, and I will catch up with you when we get down to my last destination on this road trip.
Don't you want just to get a little bit too gone? Baby, I've been listening all night long. All night long. You're the one dancing with your cigarette. Carefree me, I wanna be with you all night long. All night long. Baby, you move me like a movie. You groove me like a groove. You're doing something to me. And I wanna be the one, I wanna
We're
be
so
the one.
close. We're almost in the town, and I'm telling you, I'm a little burned out. I think this is a really comfortable thing, but traffic is the great equalizer. I've only been in the car for maybe 3.5 or so hours, but doing 3.5 hours just on cruise control on an empty highway is much different than 3.5 hours through some grueling traffic in Boston. And it's always beautiful to get into Boston. You go over the bridges, you see the city, you go in through the tunnels, but then it just comes to gridlock and it just burns you out. One thing this doesn't do super great is low speed stop and go traffic with the cruise control, the ACC. It's not really designed for that. It can do it. It's kind of okay at 35 to 50 miles an hour, but anything slower than that, it's just, you're better off doing it yourself. One thing I can tell you though is these seats. Now, I got kind of a skinny butt, so I'm not always the best judge of these. My butt doesn't hurt that bad. Usually it hurts worse. So that's good for these seats. Great lumbar support. And the armrests are just so choice. It's really comfortable. Entering Provincetown, we have done it. We've done it. We started in Stowe. We're ending out here in the dunes. This is so fantastic. We started out in the mountains. The good news is that the hotel I'm staying at this weekend has a wicked early check-in, and I can check in at 2 p.m. So many hotels are 3 or 4 p.m. now. And that's really frustrating because you check out at 11. So you don't get 24 hours with your money, and that's really annoying. Now, luckily, I'm staying here for 2 nights, so I'll get my money's worth for sure. Steak. All right. All right, everything's locked in. There we go. Try not to do any big breaks because I do have a couple things that are a little loose back there. Okay, this, I might have to program to not have this come on all the time, because when that comes on and I'm also looking at Waze, it blocks Waze, and I kind of need to know where I'm going. So it's great to know that there's nothing next to me, but I would also really like to know where I'm supposed to go next. The other thing about this is that it delays when it comes on. So watch, put this on now. In a real pinch, when you're like, woo, is there anyone next to me? Is there something going on there? You want that camera on instantly. You don't want any delay there. So, you know, if I'm making recommendations, that's there. Another recommendation I would make is keeping the range and the speedo in the dashboard at all times. Because yes, I have a speedometer here, but sometimes I just want the big digital one. And the range, I actually have to cycle through a fuel economy menu to get to that. And I don't want to have to do that. I would like to just always have the range sitting right next to my fuel gauge. Huge benefit to having sliding doors. Look at this. Look how tight I am next to this other Pacifica. And A, I don't have to worry about their kids smashing up my car, but B, I have full access to everything I need in my own car, and I don't have to worry about the doors. Welcome to Provincetown. The best way to see this town is probably on a bike. Right now we're on Bradford Street. It runs parallel to Commercial Street, which is the main drag. I wanted to take you up here first just to show you the Pilgrim Monument. It's 252 feet tall, actually 252, 7.5 inches, if we're counting. And it was built to commemorate the first landing of the Pilgrims in 1620. They actually spent 5 weeks here before they went to Plymouth. So this is the true first landing of the Pilgrims. Anyway, they built that in 1907, or they started to, finished in 1910. It's massive. It doesn't quite fit the aesthetic of the town. And people hated it when it was built. They said, why? Its architecture is based off of a Sienna monument. And so they're like, well, this doesn't make any sense. But anyway, doesn't matter. No one's here to talk about monuments. They're here to have fun and party, because this is a party town. Provincetown is not car friendly. They usually close down a lot of the street during the evening to cars. And you've even got to be pretty careful navigating this on a bike, just because people are never looking. They're constantly just stop. Like, think about every airport you've ever been in, and people just stop in the middle of a busy walkway. That's what this town is at all times. Just like this. I hear a very expensive crankset behind me, probably SRAM red.
Morning.
Hey, I thought I heard some SRAM clicking on the way behind me. Now we're out here on the trail, and this is where it opens up to some beautiful spots that you can't get this by car unless you're off-road on the ORV trails. And if you're on foot, it would just take too long. You do have to be pretty cautious though, because there's a lot of sand that blows into these trails. And that is just ice. Ooh, pair of undies. Someone's having fun out here last night. The aviation nerd in me says this is the best spot here, right here, because this is the Provincetown Airport. And if you're standing right here, you are right on this approach path. Let's actually go do some car spotting down here before we go to Race Point. Sometimes there's some good stuff in the airport lot, because people with lots of money leave very expensive toys here. But I'd imagine it's probably just gonna be like Rivians, G-Wagons, and Jeeps, maybe a Defender or two. What do we got? Okay. We got a Rivian, a Wrangler, a Bronco Sport. Oh yes, the Pacifica. More Rivian, more Jeep, more Jeep. There's one of those Cape Air 402Bs. These things are so cool. And they've been in service for a very long time. There's one taking off right now. Pardon me, 402C. Ugh. This is probably the most dangerous part of the trail because right over here is the air down and air up station for the ORV trails. And there's a ton of sand from all the, thank you, all of the sand that comes off. So there's that air up station right there. One of the things you gotta watch out for up here though is foxes. There's a ton of foxes up here. I'm not talking about sexy lads. I'm talking legit foxes. And people feed them, so they are pretty friendly. But I'm not getting bit by a fox. They'll come right up to you, right at your car. It's a little scary. Sometimes they kind of corner you. They really want to eat. But there's a beach up here, so people come up, but you're out overlooking the dunes. It's so great. You can see the Pilgrim Monument over there. Taking the sand line. Good Lord, it's a little scary. Don't take this turn fast. There we go, okay. I've not seen one interesting car. A lot of RAV4s, Subarus, pickup trucks. This is probably the best restaurant in town. Everyone says Sal's is the best restaurant, which is fantastic, but Red Inn, that's the spot. Oh yes, the Honda Insight. This is good car spotting. Love the Insight. I'm sure he doesn't get that very often. This spot up here is properly iconic. This is the Lobster Pot. And if you've ever watched anything about Anthony Bourdain, he got his start down here. And there's an entire segment where he literally just ends up here at the Lobster Pot. It is actually really good food. And there's a great deck on the water. All right, hopefully no one's mad at me for doing this, but I want to do the Carver Street hill climb. Oh my God, this thing is so good. All the carnage from this week evaporating before my very eyes. It's actually a good vacuum. Better be, it's powered by a 3.6 liter V6. I'm back home and I have spent a week with a vehicle that I didn't think I would fall in love with. And I think anytime you spend multiple days with any vehicle, if you're a car person, you will start to fall for it. But the thing about vans is people have so much vanity, no pun intended, about the cars that they drive. And yet somehow they find themselves in a RAV4, as if the RAV4 or the Q5 or the Q7 or the X5 or the X3 are these really sexy things. They're not, and I don't think that they're that much more sexy than a minivan's practicality affords you. This has been really incredible. I don't have a family, but I was able to pack all of my stuff and my bike, and the convenience of this packaging, it's unmatched And it's true because we've had this convenience for years. Back in 1993, this very driveway would have been the spot where our 1993 Dodge Caravan was sitting. And here we have the 27 Pacifica. But what's wild about the van is it's not just a family hauler, it's a stuff hauler. And if we're being very honest about how we use our vehicles and what we need out of our vehicles, this van could actually replace a lot of your pickup trucks. And I know that's something you'd never want to do, but it's true, and they're so convenient. But one thing I think this car has earned after all of this time on the road is 2 stickers. One, we've got our "This Car Climbed Mount Washington" sticker, because this thing absolutely did the job. And hopefully they're not mad at me for putting stickers on this car. Usually don't put stickers on a press car. I don't care how aligned this is. It's just going on. Oh yes, she earned that one. Some bubbles. My bad, doing my best. And a Tedward sticker. Left side down, boys and girls. If you want one of these, you can find them on my Shopify store. But anyway, this van has been a tried and true little companion, and the conveniences that vans offer now are so incredibly appealing, because when people say I'll never own a minivan, you don't say that about things that wouldn't entice you. You would never need to say that unless there's something about the minivan that would bring you into the fold. That would be like, wow, that would actually save my back from loading the kids in and out. You just don't want to look a certain way, and I think that's a little lame. It's okay to look a certain way. I have been proud to drive this van around. But even if you're not going to go and actually buy one, maybe it's not a terrible idea to use one to rent. When I was in Provincetown, there was a van that parked directly next to me, and it was a fleet of these young women on a bachelorette party. And you know what? They told me they loved the van. Pause for traffic. Ooh, V-tail bonanza. Because practicality isn't enough. This is actually nice to drive. It's comfortable. The suspension is fantastic. It has enough power. It's not going to really wow you in that department. And now, because they don't do the hybrid system, it should be more reliable. This should actually do its job of running for you and not having any issues that you're going to have to go back to the dealership. And because you don't have the batteries in these anymore, you get the additional space for your stow and go stuff, which is great. I loved having these because there were times where I was parking in the city, and sure, I might have some luggage and a backpack, but really I don't want my cameras visible in the back of a van. So I was stuffing expensive things in these compartments, and that was great just to have as a photographer, to know that my stuff wasn't visible as somebody was passing by, maybe do a quick smash and grab. So anyway, now that the road trip is complete, I've put about 1,000 miles on this van through coastal New England, climbing Mount Washington, seeing the mountains, riding my bike through some incredible places. I can conclude the Pacifica S still absolutely has a place in the market, and I think Stellantis products that have been around for a while, like the Dodge Durango and this Pacifica, they're like fashion. They're like wide leg jeans. They've come back around. It's nice to have analog gauges. It's nice to have a naturally aspirated V6 and not some high-strung turbo 4-cylinder. My apologies. And the funniest thing about the minivan is that everybody who actually tries one, everyone who rents one, everyone who lives with one, everyone who gets a loaner from their friend for a little while, they're sold on it almost immediately, because the convenience and the practicality is life-changing. It's difficult to load your stuff and your kids in small SUVs, especially in the third row. When you do actually experience life with a vehicle that's designed for it, with the sliding doors, your kids aren't going to smash into the cars next to you at the supermarket and cost you all kinds of insurance money. You're leaving notes. I mean, I hope you're leaving notes. It starts to make a lot more sense. And people who have these love these. The only people who say they don't want one are the people who kind of grew up with one and thought that their moms were nerds. And that's okay, but guess what? Your moms were right. So, thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Any questions you have about my week as a 38-year-old single man in a minivan across New England, please feel free to comment down below. But I think I get it now, and these are pretty choice. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one. Do you like how I just didn't even mention that? It's just sitting in the back. Oh yeah, casual 750S.